So I've really delved into the hockey world. So the women's hockey world, the female hockey world, kind of the hockey moms, um, female players, adult female players. This is the second season where a friend and I have coached an adult women's hockey team of newbies from their mid 20s into their, mid 50s, and just love it and love the community. They've built such a solid community within their team, and that's one of the biggest pieces that is seems to be so unique to hockey. Like just that strong community, even with my kids' teams, like they play baseball and lacrosse, but the hockey community is just so much stronger, so much more together, I guess.
Why do you suppose that is?
Part of it is because you spend so much time with each other.
Mm.
Like it's
Mm-hmm.
not like when I go to volleyball, I can show up a minute before the game starts. I don't have like I take my sandals off and I hop onto the court. Whereas with hockey, you have to get all your gear on. So, typically people get there a half hour beforehand to get dressed. So you have that community, that conversation. Another thing is it's a very hard sport and it's very fast. It brings up a ton of emotions. And so you almost need that support just to help you get through. Like it's chaotic. It's not hit the ball and run to first. It's the puck can go anywhere on the ice and you have to read and react off of where the puck goes, off of where your teammates are going, what they're doing, which way they're turning determines which way you should turn and how you should adjust your body and how the other team, like it's just it's a very fast, aggressive, chaotic sport. And so I think just that uniqueness and the kind of doing something hard together brings that community. It just creates a tighter community, is my guess. I don't.
That's your experience, nevertheless. And
Yeah.
I never would have thought about that. As I'm thinking about everything you've talked about so far, it makes complete sense. What position? So you coach a team. Do you also still play?
Yep.
And
Yep.
what
So
position do you like to play?
I like to play forward. No team wants me playing defense. It's like I'll play wing, center, anything. No way. I do not play goalie. It amazes me that adult women who start later in life and who choose to play goalie. It amazes me. That's the hardest position, both like physically and mentally. But yeah, I love playing forward. I play on a women's team. I just started playing on the first ever co-ed team that I've
Wow.
yeah. So I dabbled in that thanks to another female. So I coached with my daughter within the youth organization, and one of the other females was joining this team and talked me into it. It's like, okay, I'll try. I've had like hockey, I've had a love-hate relationship with it just because as a female, never necessarily felt like I fully belonged in the sport.
Mm.
There were a lot of messages growing up. So I grew up kind of on the forefront of women's hockey when it was starting. So the messages I absorbed the most were kind of that negative, like it's not real hockey because you can't check and you're never going to be as good as the boys. And if you take the best, female hockey player and the best male hockey player, the, best male hockey player is always going to win. So it always felt like I was trying to prove myself, where it's like I have to be the best in order to be acknowledged as a good hockey player versus just being able to be a good hockey player at the level that I was at. So definitely had a lot of insecurities around the sport when I was playing. A lot of those came up when I started coaching my daughter, where I didn't feel like I was good enough to coach 5-year-olds. Which I also started a podcast with a fellow female coach called Two Women Who Give a Puck. And so she shares her story growing up and playing, and then I think it's the third episode is my story. So if you're interested in learning more of those like kind of specifics and how I work through all of that, you could go and check out that
I
episode.
absolutely will. And from what you're describing, though, I think hockey sounds to me like it's a lot more than just, swatting the puck around on the ice and who can
Yes.
get it into the goalie, who can score the points, and then who's got the hardest check.
Yes.
It seems to
Yeah.
me that there's a heck of a lot more going on there, and you've tapped into that, and I love that you held on to that. That speaks to such perseverance and you know, just the whole concept that you're so willing to do that and put yourself out there and be the forward in this community of women's hockey. Um, I applaud you for that. Good for you. Such
Yeah.
inner strength that takes. But I'm really intrigued now to I'll be listening to your story, no question, and I'll put a link in the description for others to find that too.
Yep.
But I saw that you were doing another podcast, and Two Women Who Give a Puck, and you've got another organization that you launched. Share us a little bit about those two things that you have going on. How did they start, and what's your mission?
Yeah. Yeah. It's really getting more females into the game and making sure that those females understand that they belong. Like from the girls who are 5 to the women who are 60 who are playing, just helping them understand that they belong because it is such an amazing sport, both physically and just mentally. Like there's so much to it that is of value. I wanted to walk away multiple times just because it has been hard, but it is there's something about the sport and females being in the sport and my daughter seeing that it's a safe space for her that are they're just so important to me. And so that's one of the reasons why launched a podcast. My co-host is another female coach who I asked to join me thinking that she'd say hell no because she's also kind of like introverted like me and not necessarily someone you would think would put themselves out there, but she said yes and I was like, okay, then I guess we're doing this. And it's been great. We've had so many different stories and but really just want everyone to see it's a space for them, but then also talk about like it's it is a very sexist space. And that's just not just coming from us, but a lot of research around it. We had coaching her on, which is out of the U of M, University of Minnesota, that does research on girls and women in sports. And they've brought up like hockey is just one of the hardest spaces for women. And I had been feeling that, but it was kind of validating to hear like, okay, it's not just me. And having more conversations with female coaches also has helped me not step down, helped me continue and really understand that importance and that community and knowing okay, it's not just me who's having these feelings is helpful. And then so that led so we have the podcast and then having the podcast and wanting to do more like honestly the youth association I'm with was a very ugly place this year for a lot of people and it kind of drove me crazy and it's either I walk away which isn't an option because my children love the sport which is great unfortunate when you want to maybe walk away from it yeah, it's
Yeah.
kind of either walk away or do something about it. And so I created the Hockey Village. Right now it's mostly a Facebook page, but I'm building it out to be a community, to have some an online learning that helps to walk through some of the mindset, some of the equipment, like do I get a left-handed or right-handed stick? Oh, now I bought this stick and I'm supposed to cut it. Like it's supposed to be a specific length and that makes a difference. What size skates do I get? Because they're not the same size as shoe sizes. And so kind of those like nitty-gritty specifics of the equipment, because like when you play, you don't think of how odd some of this stuff is and how much someone has to learn. And so it's really right now I'm building out kind of that I'm an adult female hockey player just getting into the sport and building out all those tools, those mindset tools of like, no, you belong. This wasn't an opportunity for you growing up, but that doesn't mean it's not for you. It's meant for you. And then, getting into the specifics of the equipment, and then talking about the game and the positions and kind of the flow of the game. Because like I said before, it is unique where it's not run to first base, run to second base. It's, this organized, there is some organization to it, but when you're out there learning it, it just feels like complete chaos. So building out kind of that adult female player, helping them feel safe, creating a community around that safe space, and then also tapping into hockey moms. I think there's a lot of opportunities for hockey moms to feel more involved. And the importance of that is that their children, both their boys and their girls, see then that hockey can also be a space for more females. And then that can encourage just that more feelings of belonging for all the females around. More importantly for those girls, because there are a lot of hockey families who, live and breathe hockey, but only their sons play and not their daughters because they still don't see it as a sport for them. And so wanting to have an impact in that space and really influence and helping those hockey moms feel comfortable asking questions, learning the game, speaking intelligently about the game at the rink. And so that everyone involved in this community can start to see that it truly is a space for females as much as it is for the males.
Oh, such a community leader you are. Listen to you and all the beautiful things that you're building, and what a great cause. Like, I think it's something so few of us have even considered, in our day-to-day lives. Yes, our kids want to play sports, we want to support them and the things that they want to do. But taking that a step further and recognizing that, there doesn't have to be barriers between what it is kids want to do and what, is acceptable or however you want to look at it. And just thinking about all the energy and the effort that you're putting forth to help people feel included and welcome and just, inspired by everything
Mm-hmm.
that you're doing. You've got such a full plate. You love sports, you love to work out. I mean, is that your restoration? Where are you getting, how are you keeping yourself from getting burned out?
Yeah, I sometimes I question that, but but I mean it is sports is such a great outlet for me. I do as chaotic as it is with the kids and then me also making sure that I continue to play. Like it gets busy, but I've found that I enjoy so I'm a bit more introverted, so it's like I need like one day a week of just me time, hanging out. But then if it's more than 1 to 2 days, then I start to get bored again. So so that's part of, I guess, my drive is as much as I need that downtime to restore, I also
Mm-hmm.
need that community to be a part of
Mm-hmm.
and yeah, those group activities, you're doing things that I love, like the sports. Yes, that fulfills me. Maybe going to like an escape room and doing those kind of like team building things that maybe will drain me, but being out, in that space and just seeing people loving it as well and enjoying it. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I
I
love it.
think too, those of us that lean more towards the introverted spaces, when we're able to, like yourself, you've kind of put yourself into more of a leadership position. It allows you to be around people, but kind of more on your own terms.
Yeah.
I know I've found that it's like I love hosting parties. I don't always love going to parties.
Yes.
So being a part of the team, yeah, I'm a team player. At the same time, I'm better suited, you know, in the leadership position, not because I'm great at telling everybody what to do, but I'm just more comfortable there. And then it allows, whatever strengths I may be able to provide to shine. So,
Yeah.
I think that that's really interesting. And of course, those of you that love going to the gym, I'm not a gym girl. I've tried, so don't even look at me. People have said that I know the one statement that always rings through my head is people who say they don't like to work out don't work out. That's right. We don't work
Right,
out.
right.
Doesn't mean I don't like to ride a bike or do things like that, but going to a gym is just not my thing. But I hear that there's a whole community there too.
Yes.
And you get to tap into that and do all of those things. So good for
Yeah.
you for recognizing where it is you can restore and protect your energy. What do you have coming on the horizon, or what are your hopes for the Hockey Village and for two moms or two women who give a puck?
Yeah. I mean, I'd love just two women who give a puck to you get that message out there, share different stories where more women can see themselves in the people that we interview. And then also more organizations can listen to maybe some of the harder feedback on the environment and start to look at their environment in a different way and understand where, okay, some of the things we do maybe aren't overly welcoming and maybe it's a good idea to change. Um, and so having those spaces and then really just building that community of like that safety in the sport and in learning and in growing and developing because a huge part of hockey, it's not just that physical. I can do inside outside edges, or I can shoot, or I can stick handle, or I can pass. There's is so much mentally to the game that starts when you are on the ice with 4 and 5 year olds. It's less about teaching them hockey skills and it's more about like helping them mentally kind of get through the practice sometimes because it's strange and hard and your feet can hurt because this your skates are too tight or they you know whatever my helmet's off, whatever it is, it's a lot of kind of that mental side. And so parents having maybe a bit more empathy for their kids who are playing,
Mm, yeah.
having different conversations and hockey's a game of mistakes. You're
Mm,
constantly making mistakes. Like even watching the NHL, PWHL, there isn't a single player who goes out for a shift who doesn't make a mistake at least
mm,
once. A mistake kind of sometimes because it may not necessarily be a mistake, but if you are very critical of yourself or if you're very critical of your player, like your child, they're going to start to see it as mistakes. And then that can hamper their growth. Even if we just only want to talk about the sport, it can hamper their growth within in the sport. And so there are just so many life lessons that hockey can teach and parents understanding that and the culture being able to change to be kind of more empathetic, which is seen as more, feminine, and just
mm,
help the kids through it. So it's more of a positive experience versus,
mhm.
high pressure, high stakes, high, um,
Yeah.
inner critic space,
Hmm.
which I see a lot in the kids that I coach and then also the adult players. So a big part of it
Hmm.
is helping them through all of those emotions, just accepting that there are a lot of emotions there.
Yeah.
So just really, I really want to be a part of that cultural shift because I think it's just so important in the space of sports and just in the world in general. And if we can use hockey
Mm,
as a tool to learn that, like that's going to trickle out into more areas in one's life. You're not going to just
yeah.
be in that hockey bubble and I'm only going to learn and
Hmm.
change my reactions in this hockey bubble. I think it seems very silly that it's like it's a sport, but I think that can just be kind of ground zero of having so many changes and then just
Hmm.
being able to share my experiences too and how I've gotten through it, I think is part of the reason why I went through all of those things and why I've had all of my experiences and why I feel kind of pushed to be that leader in kind of that hockey mom, new to playing adult female hockey player space.
And so recognizing those complexities within the team and the sport is such a great life lesson for young people.
Yeah.
Once they're, I mean, teamwork, it's more than just, the basics of understanding the skills. It's that mental piece of it that you keep driving home and that you keep trying to bring to light and keep, attaching more awareness to that I think is it's life. It's going to build so many great life skills for the young people that get engaged with it and are coached by someone who sees it that way. So
Hmm.
again, good for you. Congratulations.
Yeah. Thank you. I'm very excited. It's very new, but
Yeah.
check it out. I'm
Yeah.
excited. Interact with me. Let me know. Being someone who's
Okay.
played hockey for 30-ish years, even though I'm only, 32. No. Was
Nice
like,
try.
yeah, it's worth a try, right? We got
Yep.
the 20-year-old filter on, right?
Yeah, yep. Oh yeah, always. Zoom has great filters.
Right.
No question.
Yeah. Yeah,
Awesome.
but so much you don't think of, like,
Hmm.
question, like kids question too, or even my adults, when I say certain terms, they're like, so what does that mean? It's like, oh yeah. At one point I actually had to learn what that term meant. Now it's just part of my
Yeah,
vocabulary, and I don't even think about that. People
yeah,
outside of the sport may not know what, you know, look for the points means.
yeah, yeah.
So yeah.
Very cool. All right. So, before we wrap it up, you got to tell me, is there anything that you know now that you wish you had known then when you first launched your business or when you were thinking about launching a business or even the podcast or opening yourself up to this broader village community, hockey village community? What do you want people to know about that to help them stay inspired and keep moving forward?
Yeah, there are so many things that I think back on when I first launched my business. I guess the biggest thing that would have made life so much easier is just understanding that I have value, really, and that I can take up space, and that I'm meant to be who I am and do things kind of my way, and that's okay.
Beautiful. Well said. Thank you. Okay, Sarah, where can we find you online? How can people get connected? And where can we find the Hockey Village and two women who give a puck?
Yes. So they both have websites. So two women who give a puck.com, thehockeyvillage.com. There are Facebook pages for both of them. For sure, the Hockey Village, that's kind of where most of the content is, and where I've been putting most of my energy so far, has been the Facebook page. So that's where I would probably go first.
Okay.
And then, yeah, they also, yeah, two women who give a puck at gmail.com. You can
Okay.
find me there. Sarah at thehockeyvillage.com is the email I have for that one. It's Sarah with an H. That is
Well, yeah,
important,
thank you
son.
for clarifying. That
Yes.
matters.
Yep. Yeah. But yeah, I would love people to interact, ask
Okay.
questions, and then I can kind of develop content from there.
Hmm. Awesome.